What's some advice that you would give folks maybe in your position when you graduated law school? Like, what are some of the things that are the building blocks of success?
So if I had to give two pieces of advice, the first would be live lean, right? People tend to spend a lot of money. They become lawyers, they buy expensive cars, they have expensive habits, they buy expensive houses, and then you don't have the cash to really grow your business. You want to grow a business, it takes cash. There's no question, right? And the second is have a plan. Having the mastermind group and having talked to a lot of different law firms, people come to us for consulting and members in the mastermind group. There's so many lawyers that just don't have a written plan. And if you don't have a plan, it's very hard to succeed.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. Got an awesome guest today, Rob Levine. We'll get to Rob in 2 seconds. For our regular listeners, I always throw a quick ad in at the start. And today it's for TGR Live, our live event. We just had a great meeting this morning, planning the cocktail party and the welcome party. And we do this event every year. And it's going to be at the Opal Grand again in Delray Beach, Florida. It's awesome. It's right on the Ave. It's called Atlantic Avenue, right at Atlantic Ave and the beach. Great location, awesome event, awesome speakers. Rob, hopefully you can be a part of TGR Live 2026, March 16th and 17th. Look for information on 10 Golden Rules. And with that, Rob, welcome to the 10 Golden Rules podcast.
Thanks for having me, Jay. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
So the reason I'm so excited is we have a number of folks who are really prominent in the legal industry, but Rob checks a lot of boxes. He's got a great law firm practicing in 4 states and nationally on the Social Security disability and the veterans disability stuff. He's also got a mastermind, and he's got a medical records retrieval business, and he's got a brand new business that he's going to tell us about. Rob, first, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
So that's an interesting story. My journey is a little different than probably most of my friends that are lawyers. I started really with community service, volunteering on a rescue squad, 16 years old. Back then, they had something called 5 Point, which was like advanced first aid and a number of other courses. And then I became an EMT when I was 17, and I loved it. So, right, helping others was just in my blood. Then I became a military police officer in the National Guard, went to college for criminal justice, and then I became a police officer. So I was a police officer in Rhode Island for 7 years before I had really a catastrophic accident that injured my back, and I had to retire after 7 years. And then I started practicing law after that. So my start was definitely not on the road to be a plaintiff's lawyer.
I want to say I'm sorry because obviously the accident was terrible, but I think it was a moment in your life that took you in a direction that has been a big win in other ways, right?
100%. I mean, you play the cards you're dealt, right, and make the best of it. You never know when you wake up every day what you're going to be facing. So, yeah, it definitely changed what I expected to be doing with my life. My goal was really to be a Fed, which is why I started law school in the first place, like FBI or something like that, and go from law enforcement into that. And instead, I went into practicing law.
So how did you work for another firm at first, or did you jump?
No, at that point in my life, I think I had enough with having bosses after military service and being a cop. I decided to do my own thing. So I actually was going to open a law firm with a guy named Anthony Gemma. So if you're from Rhode Island, that's Gem Plumbing. So they owned a plumbing and heating company, about 50 guys, and they were doing about 5 million a year when I started. And so Anthony and I were supposed to open a law firm, and like the week before, we had our space picked out, everything ready to go. His brothers, his large family, he was the youngest of 9, really put pressure on him to come work for the family business. They wanted him to help them grow it and scale it and, bring him in. And so he convinced them to not only hire him, but to hire me. And so the deal was that I could run a law firm. and do all of their accounts receivable work, real estate acquisitions, and legal work. And so I had really two full-time jobs. I was on the executive board for that plumbing and heating company. Our goal was to scale them, which over the next 7 years, we grew them to about 300 guys and about 40 million a year. So quite a bit of growth, right, in that 7 year period. And
Awesome.
we bought a dinner and a movie theater. We bought 300 units of real estate. We grew the plumbing company. It was an amazing ride. And then simultaneously, I grew the law firm. And so we outgrew each other. Like at 7 years, I basically said, look, I'm barely working for the plumbing company. The
Yeah,
law firm is getting bigger. We need to unwind. And Anthony had a choice. He could either stay with his brothers or come with me. So he decided to stay at the plumbing company, and I took off with the law firm on my own.
that's great. You've had tremendous success with the law firm. I think you said when we were just chatting before, 260, 270 people. What's some advice that you would give folks maybe in your position when you graduated law school? Like, what are some of the things that are the building blocks of success?
So if I had to give two pieces of advice, the first would be live lean, right? People tend to spend a lot of money. They become lawyers, they buy expensive cars, they have expensive habits, they buy expensive houses, and then you don't have the cash to really grow your business. You want to grow a business, it takes cash. There's no question, right? And the second is have a plan. Having the mastermind group and having talked to a lot of different law firms, people come to us for consulting and members in the mastermind group. There's so many lawyers that just don't have a written plan. And if you don't have a plan, it's very hard to succeed.
Yeah, amen to that. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the mastermind. I'm a big fan. We've actually done entire webinars on the masterminds and masterminding. I'm in a agency mastermind,
Mm-hmm.
digital agencies or advertising agencies. And most of us, if not all of us, pick one niche. So we are internet marketing for law firms. And I have learned so much from my other mastermind members and the coaches. And it's been instrumental to tripling or probably now quadrupling the size of our business.
That's
And
awesome.
it just made life easier because any question I have, I can ask the mastermind
Right.
or one of the
100%.
coaches. And particularly when we first moved into the legal niche about 6 or 7 years ago. So talk to me a little bit about the mastermind and what are some of the benefits to folks to being in a mastermind?
I personally joined probably, I've been a lawyer for 25 years, and I probably joined my first mastermind group at least 18 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. And so I quickly learned, right? So if you're going to open up a hamburger shop, buy a McDonald's franchise, right? Like, why recreate the wheel from scratch? Have somebody teach you that already knows. And so I was very, very lucky. So I was friends with a guy named Paul Harding from Martin Harding Mazzotti. Now it's Harding and Mazzotti. And they own a large firm up in New York, and we were friends. And he got me into his mastermind group. Was definitely not a group I probably belonged based on size. I was tiny. He was much larger than me, but he talked him into letting me in and said, look, Rob's aggressive. He's going to scale. This will be a good place for him. And I met people like Jan Dills. So Jan runs a huge law firm that does VA practice, Social Security practice, and a small amount of personal injury.
Yeah,
And
I know Jen.
so
She's great.
that's where I got the idea of doing Social Security originally was from Jan. And then that's what gave us the original idea of doing VA. She was just super helpful. And if it wasn't for meeting Paul and meeting Jan and many other people in that group that were super helpful, I probably wouldn't be where I am today, right? So it's it would have been 10 times harder and taken 10 times longer rather than meeting people who have all really accomplished great things and them saying, no, you're not sure you want to do it that way, try this. Or instead of this, try that. And so, as a conglomerate, you all help each other. You make suggestions, you give ideas, and you work as a team to grow together.
So a lot of the masterminds have a coach format, and then they have we call it a hot seat format. So typically you select one of the coaches, and sometimes they're even your peers, but they'll sort of hold you accountable. And then the mastermind, we do a full day of masterminding, and everybody gets a chance to sit on the hot seat. And so when you go to your mastermind, you bring a problem, and typically you might do a 5 or 10 minute setup and talk to everyone about your business and the trajectory, and then you bring something to the table. Like I remember I was considering hiring a salesperson, and I got great coaching from my mastermind. What's the format of the mastermind that you all have set up?
Sure. So ours is not that different. So obviously, I know your mastermind. That's where we met originally.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
So yours is huge. I mean, and it's interesting how he's done a great job at breaking it down into these tables where people sit and share, right? So, because I don't know what it's like, must have been 100+ people at the meeting I went to where we met. And so,
Actually, there's no secrets. It's called Seven Figure Agency. And if you are a small agency, or a big agency, highly recommend checking it out. And Josh Nelson runs it. And
right,
so
I was
the
impressed.
big room you were in is now up to like 250 people. and
That's amazing.
and then
Yeah,
we
he's
do a breakout for a couple days after that in a group called the Titans. So basically you mastermind at your level. And the Titans are the multi seven figure agencies.
Mhm.
So there's about 20 Titans, and it's awesome, the masterminding at that level.
That is awesome. So our format is we meet weekly, and so we meet weekly on a Zoom call. And so 2 of the weeks are breakout rooms. So there's a subject matter expert in each one of the breakout rooms. So the standard three are we do intake, we do marketing, and we do operations. And so the mastermind members can choose what room they want to go into. And then as people want additional things, we'll add a room for like IT, cybersecurity, or we'll add like training and HR. And in those 2 weeks every month, they're really able to niche down and focus on whatever problems they're having and have what you call it a coach, an expert in that room, really to help them work on those issues. 1 week is really goal geared towards like accountability and goals. So they have a document sheet where they can put in projections and focus on where they want to be. And the other week is really hot topics. So it's whatever problems anybody's having, we can discuss openly, put people on the hot seat, ask questions, and work together. And then twice a year, we have in-person meetings like your group, right? So we get together. Our last meeting was in March. We met at South Beach in Florida, and our next meeting will be in September at the International Hotel in Chicago. So we bring in professional speakers. So we're going to have a speaker there on AI. We're going to have a speaker there on wealth, a speaker on SEO and AI, the new trends. Another speaker wants to talk about bonus projections, a number of different ideas for law firms. And so every 6 months, I ghost call law firms to see how their intake is doing. And then we hand out report cards and we talk about intake as well, because huge part, obviously, of the success of a law firm. So yeah, it's exciting. I mean, people are growing a lot inside that group. I watch the changes and how people are helping each other. It's really enjoyable to see people work together and for me to be able to give back the same way people help me.
When you ghost call, do you have an actual case? Like you present a,
Oh yeah, we make up it's like a caller, like it's the whole thing. So we do 4 different things. We call during the day, during
yeah.
operations. We call after hours, and then we also do 2 form fills. So we'll go to the website and we'll do a form fill during the day, and then we'll do a form fill after hours. So we can see how they're doing and handling both inbound phone calls during the day and after, and inbound form fills during the day and after. And so we critique them on everything through the whole thing. And just as when we're getting close to if they're going to sign us electronically, we tell them, oh my God, my daughter just came in, or make some excuse, I have to go. And then we watch their chase process. So we see how they follow up and we track their chase process so we can report back to them on how that's going. One of the things we
Yeah.
do, right, as consultants is definitely a number of people hire us for consulting on how to improve their intake.
You actually create a fake name, fake number, fake
The
email.
whole 9 yards.
And
Yep.
do you create a local phone number?
Yes. Either that, or sometimes we'll just say I was visiting from out of town
Yeah,
and I was visiting my friend I went to college with, and we mix it up. So they never
they,
know
they
who it
never
is
know.
or where it's coming
Exactly.
from.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, we do a service like that as well. So I always want to sharpen the sword,
Yeah.
so to speak. That's great. So if someone's interested in the mastermind, where do they get more information?
So they can obviously call me. I'm always open to talking to anyone. So they can call my cell phone, which is 401-714-1746. And they can always email us at info@roblevinelegalsolutions.com.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And that's for, if you want, and that email address obviously works for any of the things that we're doing. So either the record retrieval business or our training academy and placement service, outsourcing team members into their law firm or the mastermind group.
Great. So let's talk about those two areas. I'm more interested in the training and hiring, but medical retrieval is very important too. So we'll touch on that. Tell me a little bit about the staffing and training business.
Sure.
Maybe throw
So,
in a few tips for folks about hiring and training.
yeah, of course. So we've only laid off people twice in the 25 years I've been doing business, right? So the first time was in 2008. So I was running a national title and closing business, but we were doing subprime mortgages. And so when the subprime industry
Yeah,
completely crashed and fell on its head in 2008, we had a very large title and closing operation because we were literally closing for some of the giants and doing refinance mailaways all over the country. So it was the first time we laid off. The second was COVID. And so when COVID first happened, I had no idea how long it would last, what was going to be the effect. And so we laid off. At the time, we were only 100 people. So imagine since 2020, we've gone from 100 to 260. And so we laid off about 25 people. We made deals with all of the companies we were advertising with. We got a ton of free advertising. Everybody bent over backwards to help us. It was great just to see how people came together. And I quickly realized, okay, we laid off 25 people. We don't have a lot of new incoming cases right now, but we still have a ton of existing cases we have to run. So we decided to go to an agency and we hired an agency in Colombia to get team members to help us at obviously a more affordable rate than you would pay someone in the United States. And so pretty much like everything else I try, I quickly decided I could probably do this better myself than having a go-between and all of these issues that we had. And so we created companies in Colombia and Peru. I own companies in both countries. In the Philippines, we still use an agency. We're probably going to create a company this year. And then we created a training academy. So we've always been big into training, like always. But at the scale that we were envisioning growing it, I really wanted to make it a professional environment. So, we really wanted to build up the credibility and value of the academy. And so while we had great people for content, I wanted someone who could help us structure the whole thing. So we hired the training and development manager from T-Mobile. She had been there for 13 years and she came on board and she brought in a learning management system and how to adult learn and really helped us structure the whole program. And she's just been amazing. And then she brought with her her right hand, who's been at T-Mobile for 18 years. And so the two of them really helped us take it up to the next level. And Anna, who's been with me now for 24 years, she was the head of personal injury training. She was running our PI division on the paralegal side, and we made her head of training. And now she has 4 more trainers under her. So we have 5 full-time trainers doing PI. We have trainers doing intake. And then we hire people in Colombia and Peru. We put them through the academy. So to be a case manager, for example, 12 weeks. You attend the academy full time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. We certify you. We probably wash out 20% of the people that we put in the academy. And then I place you either in my law firm, obviously, or I place you in other law firms around the country. They hire us for placement. And yeah, it's been going fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. We have a very mini version called TGRU, 10
Yeah.
Golden Rules University, and we put our folks through it, but I haven't rolled it out to anyone else yet. But that's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do intake, we do legal assistants, and we do case managers.
Yeah, as we've grown and learned the hard way, we learned that I guess part of it is I used to train everyone, or we were in an office before we became virtual in COVID. There were 7 or 10 people, and you'd sit someone down and they'd look over your shoulder and you'd sit with them and walk them through the training. And then
Right.
once since COVID and we became virtual and we grew, I realized we need to train properly because we didn't have that same over the shoulder training and we were having a little bit of turnover. And part of the problem was people they just never got comfortable and we didn't get comfortable with them. And so we've built TGRU and I follow that model a little bit.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I recently introduced you to a few folks who are looking to hire. And one of the big things everybody seems to be saying, almost everybody's trying to hire attorneys or paralegals or intake or all three. Definitely get in touch with Rob. You could give your number and your contact information again.
Sure. So it's the email address is info@roblevinelegalsolutions.com or call me directly 401-714-1746 or shoot me a text. I'm a great texter. I'm not as good at the phone. Other people check my voicemails, to be honest with you, and then they give me the messages. But if you text me, that's me responding to you.
Yeah. And Rob was great with the referral I gave him. And hopefully you're helping those folks hire. I think they want to hire eight legal assistants. They're growing like crazy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I checked them out quite a bit. They have a great firm. They're doing a great job growing and advertising.
Yeah, great. Now, the medical records retrieval, also very important, but at a digital marketing agency, we don't do medical records retrieval. So I was less personally interested, but I'm sure everyone wants to hear all about that business as well.
Sure. So what makes us unique is that our platform integrates with the case management system for the law firm. So if you process mapped what it takes to collect a single medical record, there's about 16 steps. And so the problem with a lot of medical record retrieval companies is you have to upload stuff into their platform, go into their platform and put information in, download information for their platform, put stuff back into your case management system. So it doesn't really save time and money. It's really costing you time and money because you're doing all this work. If you hire us, out of the 16 steps, somebody only does 3 things. So a law firm talks to their client, they enter the information into their platform. So in your own case management system, you type in your client's information, you type in the provider's information, who they treated with, and you drop in your HIPAA form. That's it, you're done. My system comes in, it extracts that information once an hour. We collect the medical records. We then deliver the medical records into your system. We OCR them, we compress them, and then we push them into your document storage system, completely labeled and organized. And we send you an email that tells you your records have been delivered. We take the costs and expenses, and we put it on your expense tab in your case management system. And then there's a record in your system of all the communication between you and us. So everything that's a phone call or an email is turned into a ticket. And then we put that either into your activity feed or your note, depending on your case management system. So you know exactly what the status is at all times. And so it's really seamless, right? You never come to my platform. You don't have access to my platform. Everything you need is right inside your case management system. It's been really amazing for law firms, even for obviously everything that we do, we start with in my law firm and we test it there, and then we roll it out to other people.
Yeah, we do the same thing. The first blog, the first podcast, the first videos were for 10 Golden Rules. I'm testing AI phone answering right now. And if that goes well, we'll roll some of that out to some of our clients. So that's a great way to do it.
So are you using someone else's platform, the AI phone answering system?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that for prospecting, or what are you using?
No, just for answering our phones.
Okay. Yeah, because I hear law firms talking about using it for their call center, right?
Yeah.
For intake. My personal opinion is it's not quite there yet, right? So
Agreed.
AI is amazing, but it's not, in my opinion, at the point where it can have the compassion, the empathy, the sense of humor, the knowledge to be able to qualify that call, and really all of it in a seamless conversation. It's just not ready.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd project that it's 6 to 9 months away.
Yeah,
So
that's I would have said a year, but
yeah,
that's
but
reasonable.
and so that's why I'm testing it on myself, and then we'll get to know a little bit about it, and maybe there's at least I can speak intelligently about it. That's how I try and get on the cutting edge of things.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Because
10 golden rules, golden rule number 10 is called lead the trends.
there you go.
I came up with that 23 years ago when I wrote the book and the presentation, the 10 golden rules of online marketing. And around that time, the pop-ups came out.
Yep.
Remember, like a law firm would pop up over your law firm. And those got 30% click-through rate when they first came out. And it worked phenomenally for marketing. It was intrusive, it was invasive, but it
Hmm.
worked, right? After
Right.
6 months, we hated the pop-ups. Like you'd get 3 or 4 of them. We told our security companies and our internet providers, get rid of these pop-ups. So that was an example of something that got 30% click-through rate at the start and then became like the Scrooge of the internet within 6 months. Now, not everything becomes the Scrooge, but when something new comes along, I feel like you've got to investigate it. And I do the research, sounds like you do too. And then
Hmm.
if it's something great, I'll roll it out to our clients. You'll roll it out to your mastermind and obviously experiment with your firm.
100% agree. It's a great way to do it.
Probably a good segue to talk about AI. And we have a friend in common, Tim
We
Sawyer,
do.
Faster
Yep.
Outcomes.
Right.
That's one of many AI companies that we've interviewed on the podcast and featured on our webinars and stuff. But why don't you talk a little bit about AI and maybe Faster Outcomes? Because I know you're working very closely with those guys.
Sure. So I've known Tim 20, 25 years probably. Originally, well, not originally, but I've been in Rhode Island for a long time. When I went to college, I moved to Rhode Island. So since college. So that's a long time for someone who's been practicing law for 25 years. And that's where I was a police officer. So if you add that all up, puts me in my 50s. So we've known each other a long time. And he had a couple of different businesses that he took to market. And I was tangentially involved in one of them. And he's done a fantastic job. He's highly motivated, super successful. And then he came to me about this new business opportunity that they were building, right? Faster Outcomes, and said they'd like to have me involved. And so I met the owner, CEO, Rishi, a super great guy, also had a very successful launch of a business as well prior to Faster Outcomes, and I became a partner. So I'm the general manager of the PI division, and I'm helping them kind of structure, right, the direction of the future. And so the company's amazing, right? They just have some great developers, great team members, great concepts. And so where AI was 3 months ago, 3 months before that to where it is, it's just leaps and bounds constantly when we just look at the AI environment. It's amazing, right? How quickly we see everything changing and adapting.
Tell us a little bit about the product. I know you've been consulting with them, making it better and making it work for PI firms. Where do you see the role for AI and what role does Faster Outcomes play?
So AI today, if you look at most of the AI companies, what law firms are using, they're having them draft, for instance, just a demand letter,
Yep.
right? Or do a medical chronology, which is fantastic. That's going to save you time because it'll do it faster. But if we look at the long-term vision of where we are today and where we want to be, that's not really the goal, right? Because law firms only make more money in one of two ways, right? They either hire you and you help them grow their marketing and
Get
you
more
bring in,
customers. Yeah.
right, more customers and bring in more cases in the door, right? Or they increase their average fee. They have the cases and they figure out how to increase the value of those cases through proper medical management, proper investigation, a number of factors. And so the goal of AI, if you use it to just draft your demand, you're really coming in at the end point of a case. right? So my medical records are done, my investigation is done, my case is really over. I take all of this information, I give it to a machine and say, draft a demand letter for me. But it can't say, oh, you should have considered a TBI, or you should have looked at this issue for your investigation and hired a structural engineer. It's too late. Those things are done. So the goal is to get AI involved at the beginning of the case. So when I get my first investigation done, I'm putting in my photos, right, of the scene. I'm putting in my police report or incident report, and I'm having AI assist me with the analysis of those facts and telling me, based on the code, this appears not to be the code. You should look at this. You should consider this. You should look at that. Or I'm putting in my medical records. I get my emergency room report, and it says this person has a potential TBI. Send them the Philadelphia test, gold standard, that, or the Reed test. And we send it to the customer, fills it out, comes back. AI says, yeah, clearly, we need to get this evaluated. We need a balance test. We need a vision test. We need a hearing test. We need a neuro, all of the different things to break it down. And so we use AI going back and forth with the records and the information and the paralegal to really build and structure that case. So by the time we get to the end, when we're ready to do a demand, we have fully blown it out, fully developed it, and we're going to get maximum dollar for that client.
I love it. What are some of the areas that you're either using AI or starting to test in the firm and trying to figure out where it plays?
So faster outcomes today for sure can do your demand letters, and it can also allow you to chat with the medical records. While it's not automated yet from the perspective that it's going to do everything I described, you could do it today manually. So you could put in your records. Let's say you have a slip and fall down the set of stairs and you have pictures and you have this and you have an investigator and you put that in. You could chat with our system today, asking it your prompts and saying, hey, tell me this, look at this, what do I need to know about this? Or you put in your ambulance report and your emergency room report and chat with our system and ask it the questions. The next iteration of what I want to roll out is all of those questions, what we call prompts, obviously, are pre-built. So we use what we would call an agent, right? So the agent is that smart little bot that's in there that's been completely trained and brought up to speed in neurology, in accident reconstruction, in orthopedics. And so I have pre-prompts built into a package. So when something comes in, here's the status of the case. These are the prompts you need to use, and it automatically is going to run those prompts and then give you information. The step beyond that, which we're starting to just work on now, is the integration to the case management system. So the same way I built the integration for Records on Time, my medical record retrieval company, I want the integration between AI and your case management system. So my platform extracts the data and then does the analysis and then can push data back into your system. So we have bilateral communication.
That's fantastic. It's an amazing world. And the one thing I think everybody's heard this by now, but if you haven't jumped in and started learning something, you're falling behind. So
You're
yeah,
definitely, if you haven't started, you're already behind.
yeah.
No question.
And you just got to jump in and do some baby steps, contact faster outcomes, or at the very least, figure out some chat GPT prompts to get started.
100%. And same thing, you can reach out to me, either my cell phone again, 401-714-1746, or Rob Levine at legalsolutions.com, and we can get you set up with the team at Faster Outcomes. I have a sales team, obviously, and they do as well, and those guys work very closely together to help people.
Fantastic. I forget that this is called the 10 Golden Rules Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast sometimes. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the marketing things you're doing to bring in cases and what's working for you guys at the law firm?
Sure. We are definitely heavy traditional. So we are in the first DMA we started in, which was Rhode Island. We're probably the number one largest television advertiser. We're probably the largest billboard advertiser. We just finished a sequence on radio. I don't really believe in staying on radio all the time. We kind of come in and come out of radio on and off. We're now in the Boston DMA. So we're on television. Also, we just did radio there. We were on billboards there. And then obviously digitally, right? So we do pay-per-click, Google AdWords, we do LSA. I think currently we have 17 locations in between Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut, and now New Hampshire, all of which have Google My Business locations and have become LSA locations. We're trying to push social more and more. So for a long time, I wasn't doing a lot of social, but if you look at our social now, so I hired a videographer who I get together with at least once or twice a month and just shoot videos. And I have a calendar. I shoot some videos on my own. So like the Kiss Cam, the CEO and his HR person, they got caught at the Coldplay concert.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did a quick 60-second take on that and put it out in social media. So social media is big. We're trying to continue to grow that presence. So yeah, trying a little of everything. I
Yeah,
believe
that's
being
great.
everywhere.
Yeah, definitely social media plays a role. And especially if you're like a brand advertiser, it's a great extension of that. The only hesitation I'm sharing is like on a cost per acquisition basis, you're not going to see the return typically with social media. It's part of your brand messaging.
Right.
Yeah. So this has been awesome, and we could go on. We could have made this like 2 hours and spent more time. I end every podcast with some quick one-line question and answers. So I want to give us time for that. What are some apps or techniques you use for personal productivity?
The most recent, I think the name of the app is it Whisper? I think it's Whisper. And so Whisper allows you to, on your desktop, basically talk to type. And so in any field where you want to be able to enter information, you can just speak, and the quality of what you're saying and the speed you can speak at is amazing. And same thing on your cell phone, you can put it on your mobile device or use it on your desktop. That's
Sure.
been definitely a game changer. I mean, I can type, but I'm slow. And to be able to just kind of dictate documents and go at that speed has been amazing
So you're using it for business docs and
for everything. I use it
just
for anything.
debriefing your assistant or yeah,
Anything. I
that's
mean,
awesome.
even if I'm in ChatGPT, right? So texting in there and then taking information from there. And if I'm using it on the faster outcomes platform, wherever I need to be, if there's a field I can put my cursor, I just start talking.
That's awesome. I'll check it out. Do you have a personal wellness and fitness routine?
Yes, I'm definitely strict. I injured my back. That was over 25, I guess 26 years ago. So told you I was a police officer
Yeah.
and I got into a really bad car accident and I was in therapy for a year. And so as a result of that, three orthopedic surgeons basically said I couldn't return to work. And so ever since then, staying physically fit has been super important. So I get up anywhere from 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning and I go to the gym pretty much every day. I lift 6 days a week. I do cardio 6 or 7 days a week. Cardio anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes I ride a bike. Sometimes I do elliptical, ride a bike outside. Yeah, I'm pretty strict. I eat healthy. I drink probably 3 shakes a day. Well, no, I probably drink 2 shakes a day, eat a meal, have a protein bar, and then I eat dinner every day. But I weigh my food. So I grill almost everything on the barbecue. No dishes, it's clean, it's easy, it's fast, and super healthy. And then I weigh my food, weigh my carb, I weigh my protein.
That's awesome. Best business books.
Best business books. Good to Great. That was
Jim
a
Collins, sure.
really good book for me. The concept of the hedgehog and staying in your lane. So I have ADHD times 1,000, and I have a tendency to veer out of my lane. So we didn't even talk about it, right? So the company Drive Your Art, right? So that I was telling you
Yeah.
about, that's definitely out of my lane. But for the most part, everything we do, like the Rob Levine Legal Solutions, all of that surrounds legal, the law firm. So I try very hard to focus staying because people ask all the time, right? I get other business offers. Somebody has a company that they wanted me to help me with that's in the medical field. So I'm trying to stay focused inside that lane.
Yeah. Go ahead. Give us the quick 2 minutes on Drive Your Art.
So Drive Your Art was an idea I came up with probably 7 or 8 years ago and didn't do anything with it. And then I was at a mastermind actually, and one of the lawyers there who spends a lot of money on billboards. We were talking about how he tests his artwork to decide if he likes the design before he pays for it and hangs it. And so when you get it from your billboard designer, it's like in a PDF format. He prints it, tapes it to the front of his desk, goes into the hallway, and walks by his office with his iPhone and video records it, and then plays it back to see what it looks like, and it can enlarge it. And I thought to myself, this guy's spending 7 figures on billboards, and that's the best we have. And so we did research. I called our patent and trademark lawyer and I said, find for me what's out there. And there literally was nothing out there worldwide. And so we came up with this idea to build a platform that has two sides to it: in a virtual reality, a large format art designer, someone who does billboards, buses, bus shelters, cars, can take their artwork, upload it into our platform, put it onto a billboard, design the environment they want, highway into a city, rural, urban, then change the road, uphill, downhill, left turn, right turn, weather, sun, get in a car and drive, and your viewpoint is out the windshield. You see the billboard coming, you can turn your head, look at the billboard, and literally at any speed in time and distance, accurately calculated, really see what that artwork's going to look like. So it was a super cool concept, and we're literally just launching it. On the other side of the platform, we partnered with Google SDK Maps. So if you're buying one billboard and you want to really see what your artwork will look like on that billboard, your designer can put the artwork on the billboard itself in reality and then zoom in and zoom out so you can see what it would look like. Either side can be recorded, and then your designer can send you a recording of it. And so that's on our the website is driveyourart.com. It's a SaaS. It's literally just launching. We've patented it in China, Japan, Hong Kong, all of the EU, US, and Canada. So I'm
Drive,
excited. We'll see. I'll either be the hero or the goat.
driveyourart.com. I love it.
Yeah,
That's a little bit out of the lane, but
that's definitely out of the
but the
lane.
good thing is you've obviously gotten to a point where you have a management team in these different companies and you can take on ventures like that. Next question in our quick one-liners.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the morning and you just got out of the gym and a blog, podcast, or YouTube comes across your feed. What is the blog or podcast you subscribe to and you stop everything and you'll immediately watch or listen to?
Yeah, so I'm pretty varied. So I'm definitely into business podcasts and blogs. So on all aspects of business, right? So I subscribe to some HR stuff. I subscribe to some growth stuff. I subscribe to some marketing stuff. Then there's some legal things, right? So new cases that are coming down and reading different scenarios of people winning cases and case law.
Are there some blogs or podcasts, though, that come to mind you could recommend to folks?
Hmm. So there's Tim's podcast, Keys. I
Yeah,
should mention that, or
Legal Keys. Yeah.
obviously, yeah, Legal Keys. There's one of your competitors' podcasts. They just started. So I probably shouldn't talk about your competitors, but it's a good podcast. He's just literally just started it. So yeah, to be honest with you, off the top of my head, no, I can't think of
Yeah.
what my favorites are. There's one that's done by Baby Bathwater, which is actually a huge business mastermind group. So I read their articles. Oh, Jennifer, what's her last name? She has an awesome blog that I read. So yeah, there's a lot of different people's blogs.
Great. Who's your NFL or sports team?
So growing up, I grew up in New Jersey. And so obviously it was Yankees and for baseball and Giants, oddly enough. But then when I moved to Rhode Island, I was there for a long time. And it was fun to convert to the Red Sox so I could fight with my parents.
Wow,
Red
that's
Sox
enemy
versus,
territory.
yeah. And then obviously, how do you not switch to the Patriots living in that territory and they just keep winning?
And the 20 years of winning, yeah, winning.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
great.
I remember going to the Patriots Stadium original stadium, which was like the worst seats ever. It was like going to a high school game. Like you're
Yeah.
sitting on this metal bleacher with no back. Like it was horrendous. And then obviously Kraft built the new stadium, which is amazing. So yeah, I've changed over time.
Great. The last question is, where can people get in touch with you? And we covered that a couple times. But
Yep.
what's a great introduction for you? Who are the folks you'd like to connect with?
So a great introduction, obviously, is a personal injury law firm, right? And so the size isn't that important because we've found that, for instance, our mastermind group, we have some small law firms, mid-sized law firms, and a couple of law firms that are my size. And I've been in mastermind groups where they really try to focus on keeping the same size businesses together. And the problem with that is when you're smaller, you're more agile, you're willing to try new things, you're more aggressive. As you get bigger, you become a little bit more conservative. And it's like steering a cruise ship versus a speedboat. So I think there's definitely value to mixing the two together, and it's interesting to see the dynamic. So, and then for record retrieval, obviously, I love large law firms because they order more records, but we look to help anyone. Part of what we do is about giving back. So I enjoy helping law firms succeed because, like I said, I truly don't think we would be as successful as we are if it wasn't for all the people who have helped me.
Rob, this was awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope folks get in touch with you, and I hope to stay in touch and do some things together in the future.
Same here. I'd love to be part of your summit coming up when did you say that was?
March 16th and 17th, we call it TGR Live, Growth Strategies for Law Firms.
Yeah, love to be part of that.
Space for sure. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the 10 Golden Rules of Internet Marketing for Law Firms podcast. Please send questions and comments to podcast@10goldenrules.com. That is podcast@TENgoldenrules.com.